what, like,
don't interact with your past selves. Don't
like,
bet on sporting events.
And like, 'cause I know they basically just explained it away, right? They're like, oh, we can do it, and we can put them back because that's what like.
We have to go put it back.
Yeah, like Hulk and what's her name?
But they didn't. Loki steals one.
But they went back at another time. They said like before.
Well, yeah, so, but, like, that still happens, though.
Right.
You know, so that's the thing. Like, each time something like that happens, like, in the past...
A new timeline
goes off. So, like, whenever, like... So, Loki is out there somewhere in some universe, like, where he stole the Tesseract at that moment in time, and that's a new thing. Which he does have a TV show coming up on that Disney Channel, the Disney Channel streaming service, so that's... probably how they're going to explain how he's living and able to do his own little TV show.
Yeah. Multiple Lokis.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's multiple timelines out there, which actually I thought this was interesting. I was reading an article where they actually consulted with theoretical physicists. And there's actually a guy that has like this like a multiverse theory of physics where there's multiple realities at once. Oh, yeah. So they actually like talked to that guy and like consulted with him on this movie to try to figure things out. So, well, I don't know what he thought of it, but they talked to him about it. So you know, the theories in this movie are, you know, sort of like founded in some sort of real life, like guys' theoretical science work. Right. So I thought that was fascinating to me.
Yeah, I do think they seem like largely a little too unconcerned. It's just like, well, we got it again anyway because we went further back in time. No worries.
Right. The one, well, and that's the thing, like, you know, with returning like the Soul Stone, like, does that change shit too? Like, we've seen Gamora, like, that lost her life for the Soul Stone trade, and then Black Widow, which we'll talk a little bit more later about, but like she also had to give her life for that Soul Stone trade. And now that they returned the Soul Stone, do they get anything back? Like, is there a refund policy? Like, do we get to see those funds?
It should be, because it's...
And that would, you know, I guess be another timeline spur. Also, I think the one that really... I can, like, explain away, you know, by their logic, right? You know, I can explain away things like the Loki thing. They're just like, well, simple. That is a little time spur that went off, and apparently they just don't care about it, like Aubrey said.
Right.
The one that gets me, though, is the Captain America one where he goes and returns the stones. So we're just jumping to the end of the movie just to discuss the plot holes and maybe not holes as we see fit, but... Anyways, whenever he goes back, returns the stones, and decides to go back
just
to the
40s
to, like, hang out, like, that has to cause another, like, time spur, because you weren't there, but somehow he makes it back into their present.
Yeah, he's waiting.
As an old man. Like,
oh, yeah, just, like,
waiting.
So how would that work?
And I love, like, it's, like, mid, you know, memorial service. And no one notices him sitting there until right the moment that he's supposed to come back. And they're like, oh, look, there's an old man right there. I'm just like,
I don't think he came back at the...
And, like, he theoretically, like, would have been in a different, like, multiverse. Like, multiple multi-reality. So, like, the fact that he gets back to theirs doesn't connect to me. So.
No.
Yeah,
I kind of had lots of problems, but I did just like, it's a comic movie, just suspend it, whatever. If I want like time travel done well, I'll go watch Dark. Like, it's fine. Watch Dark on Netflix. It's amazing. I will say, like, on the lighter side of things, I did like that scene with Howard Stark, you know. John Slattery from Mad Men's an amazing actor, so if you just want to put him randomly in scenes wherever you can, you should.
Yeah.
The dad reunion.
Yeah, and for Tony's character, like, Iron Man started this whole thing, like, great, that's amazing. Never been one of my favorites. But, like, I guess
it's one of my favorite comics to read. Never been one of my favorite movies. I never liked how they did it.
I don't know. I'm just like, I just can't get on board with this billionaire playboy philanthropist. Whatever.
A different
guy.
Batman. Red Batman.
Yeah.
Literally, I mean, like, they're both, I like them both, but.
And I don't know,
the
just
movie,
doesn't evoke,
just like,
any empathy
the
out of
movie
me.
wasn't.
Yeah.
The movie.
No.
So.
I never liked Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts either.
I never did until some things, which we will definitely talk about.
The fight scene.
But yeah. So, anyways, that scene though with his father, like it was some good like closure for him. He never really got to say those things to his dad.
Well,
So-
we've jumped to the end already, and he did start it, and they've been like teasing. His death was like the worst kept secret in history,
Right.
So, like, there was a lot of closure needed for his character throughout this whole movie, and it centers on him quite a bit. So, that scene being another part of that.
Yeah, it was definitely nice to have that come full circle.
The teaser trailer, like when he left the message,
Yeah.
like,
And his
like when I
helmet.
saw that, yeah, like leaving it to Pepper Potts, like even though like it's at the beginning, but I'm like, he's totally gonna die.
Oh yeah,
He's
I mean,
like, why else would you
everybody
do it?
was like,
your letter to your wife, like, oh, by the way, if I don't make it, so you're not gonna make it.
right.
So, I think getting just into the meat of the movie. So I don't know, maybe an hour battle scene that we have.
So that was the good part.
I thought that was so much fun.
Yeah.
So I loved that, it was just sort of starting out with the original Avengers and then the big three, Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man, that sort of face off on Thanos on his own. So to start off that fight, though, I also loved Thor's moment, and we'll talk. I want to talk about like Thor's character development a little bit later. But I did love the moment where he finally is just like, all right, let's do this, and he calls down the lightning and does his like Viking transformation.
Yeah.
It's like, you look dope. Like, I'm ready for this fight. Let's go.
Beard gut still there. Like, yeah, I like how he showed that.
I love that they kept that, but again, I want to kind of dig in a little bit more nitty gritty
Yeah.
and
You
a
don't like
bit
his
about that.
No.
So
I'm liking his character now.
we'll get there. Anyways, this battle, it gets down to like Captain America, and he's still going, and I don't know, that moment they do that callback to which one is it? Winter Soldier, on your left. With Sam Wilson, the Falcon, says Cap on your left, and Captain America thinks he's alone.
Yeah.
And then all of the portals start opening. Like, I mean, you knew it was coming,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
like that to me, I was just like, what?
Oh my gosh. Well,
I thought you took
in our theater too, because like the first people through the portal are from Black Panther, and our theater just like erupted. Yes. You gotta get in here and help these people out.
Oh, I love seeing Shuri there too with her like
Yeah.
like her gloves on.
lion cuffs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sick.
Talk about a spin-off movie that we need ASAP, please.
I
And
think
thank you.
Spider-Man got like hella applause too whenever
Yeah.
he pulled out. Yeah, that was.
And then just she's not in the portal, but also showing up late. And just like, what are you doing, Captain Marvel? You just busy?
Yeah.
I'm like, I know
she's
there's a lot of
controlling.
other shit going on in the universe, but like this one's important.
It was great though, the entrance and just taking down that whatever carrier that they
His
had.
spaceship.
Like, what are they pointing the guns at?
Someone told me that they probably think Doctor Strange, once he was revived, because he knows everything, he's like, yep, he probably mentally signaled everyone. So she had to fly back from wherever she was from, being like, hey, man, Thanos is here now. We're all teleporting in. Like, see you in 5.
And he had to go like actually physically, I think, get everybody. Because he's in space.
Yeah,
and
with
everybody's coming through
everybody.
these portals. So like he's got to go get like Wong
Widow
and
Boy,
like
yeah, all his
some of
people.
his other buddies, but like they all
Well-
have to go out and collect folks.
But they can
Spider-Man
teleport,
even
so it's
says it,
it's
like-
probably just a few snaps.
As soon as they come back, he was like, oh yeah, and then he said you need help, that's because he was like, hey, what's going on? Because they just pop back up. And he's like, we got stuff to do.
Yeah.
Let's
This is
go.
part of my plan. I did like that the like full circle. They came full circle with that and his whole plan. You know, as far as like why he just gave the stone to Thanos.
Why let Tony live?
What?
And Tony living, he told him to spare Tony Stark.
Right. That was the trade.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Right. And because he knew that he needed, like, he saw every which way it could go and only one would they make it. They do that, say that in Infinity Wars out of however, I don't remember how many, like, thousands of versions of the events there are. And that was the only way that it worked out. Well,
So I
for
guess,
Tony
like,
to
he
die
knew-
later.
So, I mean, well, I guess he knew that he was going to die and that Tony was going to live and that he would be the key and
For sure.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah,
the
that
fact
was
that,
the timeline.
Yeah, that, I don't know, the, I guess critics and people that like have been reviewing the movie, like, I just thought it was funny that like, oh, and of course, like, we're finally right that like, Doctor Strange gives the time stone up for a reason, and it's so like, well, duh, they tell you that the entire time.
Who's like,
Like that wasn't a thing that you could have guessed. Like they said it out loud, plain and clear. Like this is the only way it's gonna work. Like,
Right, but I like that they actually show it. Like
Yes.
that moment right before Tony, like, you know, throws himself at Thanos and basically sacrifices himself. He looks at him
They
and
kind
is
of
like, oh yeah, by the way,
Yeah.
this is that one time.
this is
This is
it,
it.
and you have to die.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, buddy, but like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm shaking my head. Yes, that's your cue to pick up the glove.
I do think like in this battle scene and something that I really liked and respected about Infinity Wars is like I feel like with all of these characters, all of the stuff going on in the battle and everything, like you could very easily have this just be stupid. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to give everybody their little one-liner and give them a purpose. And I think they actually do it really well. I think they do a really good job, both in Infinity Wars and in this, of like getting everybody in there, giving them one little thing to do so they can be on the screen for a minute and then switch it off and whatever. And I think it's handled really well for like, especially not just all these characters, but all these actors.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you got some of the biggest names in Hollywood all trying to share the screen who I think aren't used to sharing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it's fairly successful as far as that goes. And I as like a kind of movie buff person, like I don't think that can be understated because
It costs a lot of money to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't imagine because
For
even,
this, like, okay, you're in our movie for like 7 minutes.
super
total.
side
Like,
characters are huge
$15
names.
million.
Yeah. Tilda Swinton is here for 5 seconds, and
Yeah.
like I can't imagine what you paid her for that. Like, yeah, I think they do a good job.
Speaking of giving all of their characters their sort of due, my favorite scene in the whole battle was whenever Captain Marvel walks up to Peter Parker, you know, like, hey, Peter Parker, you got something for me? And like hands off this, you know, the
Infinity Glove.
yeah, the
gauntlet.
Iron Man Infinity Gauntlet. And, you know, Spider-Man just looks beat. His eyes are like ringed red. And he's like, I don't know how you're going to get through there. And, you know, the ladies pull up like, don't worry, she's got help. And then you get like shot after shot after shot after shot of all the badass Marvel ladies like just popping up.
Oh my God.
There to help. Oh, all the feels.
I loved it. One of my friends, I had this post about it and was like, Stan Lee, who literally preaches about equality and inclusiveness his entire career, and then like all the people who claim to be fans, specifically men, being like, wow, Endgame was completely ruined by 23 seconds of forced feminism.
Oh
I'm like,
my
shut
God.
We're saying that?
And then,
people
also the
hated
A-Force
it.
was a fucking thing. There is precedent for that. So, like,
Oh, I mean,
off.
like, I definitely was like, you're pandering to me right now, and I am here for it. I would like to be pandered to. Thank you.
I, like, wholly agree with that. But also, like, not... I mean, as much as they pander to, like, comic book fans and, like, people that,
I
like,
loved it.
find the things and, like, that are, like, payoffs, I'm saying for, like, all those guys that are, like, what the
complaining
hell
about
was
it?
that?
Yeah.
It's like, well, first of all, there's a comic book run where there's just like these women, this women
Team
team